Hey guys, Ariel Javier here with Watch Wabi. So today I am presenting the Borealis Oceanaut. This is Borealis's newest diver, and to be honest, I had a video already done, but I kind of gained a little bit more information that I thought was going to be really important to you to make a decision whether this is a watch that you guys want to have or not. But we'll get to that here in just a second. Of course, I have all three of their models. I have the one with the green dial, the black dial, and the teal dial. I think actually right now on camera, you guys have a fairly accurate representation of what this dial looks like. It's really hard to tell in some pics, but those that have the watch will be able to tell you that's a really, really nice dial. So let's get to some of the specs of this watch. So the watch is 42 millimeters. Let me get it here. So the watch is 42 millimeters. And it's about 13.15 or so in height. It sits really flat on your wrist. It does have a sapphire crystal, which is really nice for a watch of this price tag. And there's something else that I want to bring to light. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but I think it's something that you guys are going to be really impressed with. But anywho, back to the specs. So the dial on it, of course, green, black, and teal. But one of the coolest things is it's actually a sandwich style dial. I think that you guys could tell right there. So that means that it's obviously two-tiered and that the lume is actually underneath it and it comes through. So speaking of lume, it does have an RC Tri-Tech lume. It's really, really bright. I'll be able to hopefully show you guys here in just a second. So speaking about the watch, again, I mentioned that it's 42 millimeters, that it's about 13.15 in height. And the case is inspired after an anonimo, and somebody's already posted what that anonimo is, but it's really nice. It seems to work. Now that anonimo is actually 44 millimeters, as where this particular watch is 42 millimeters. So there's a little bit of difference, but the case is very similar. Again, it's inspired by another design that seems to be working really well for Borealis. So a lot of people often, talk about, I want something unique, I want something unique, and I want something unique. But the thing about it is if you talk to a lot of micro brand owners, they'll be able to tell you that a lot of unique designs don't actually sell. People will rave about them and they'll say, yeah, let's go ahead and get them. But when it comes down to pulling the trigger, they're willing to go for a homage, which you can say that this particular Borealis Oceanaut is. So what's so interesting about this case? Well, it's actually aluminum bronze. A lot of people mistake this particular case for being brass, and it's not. So one of the neat things that I learned about this is that aluminum bronze is actually a harder metal, if you will, than Cusin 8. And, because of that, this actually patinas, I say, a lot nicer than Cusin 8. And unlike brass is going to pit a lot. So when you guys are making a purchase and thinking, okay, well, do I want that brass watch? Some of the brass watches are going in upwards of $500. This particular is an aluminum bronze case, and it goes for $345. So you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck, and that's going to have the bezel and the actual case is aluminum brass. So it's going to patina real nicely. It's going to start patinaing right from the get-go. So anywho, that's one of the things that I learned just recently about what actually aluminum bronze is versus Cusin 8 bronze. And so I think that's something that that's going to help you guys out. So back to the actual design. So again, it has a very anonimo-ish looking case back on that particular model. It sits fairly flat on your wrist. You can see that the lugs are 22 millimeters, so it's going to fit this premium calf leather strap obviously very well, but it also fits very well a ISO frame or a Borealis frame strap. So one of the things that I talked to Carlos when I was actually mentioning that I would love to see this on like a Borealis frame or an ISO frame is that he was really proud of this particular buckle, which is made of the same material, aluminum bronze, that the entire case is, and he thought it goes best. So I definitely wanted to show you guys the watch or the watches that we have in front of us with what Carlos, which is obviously the designer and the owner of this brand, wanted it to look like. So I didn't want to take it off of that just yet. So if I put that green one down, let me go ahead and pick up the black one so you guys can see now. If you notice, everything is pretty much the same, except that this one actually has a date wheel. Now the date wheel is white. Of course, I can say that I would have preferred it in black, but I think that it works fairly well in this particular model. Nothing really changes from that. Let me show you on this one, again, after the Anonimo, but one of the things is it has its own built-in crown guard, if you will. You'll notice right there, the crown pretty much sits flush with the case. And of course it has this particular design cue. Now I'll be honest, I couldn't find really any side shots of that Anonimo that we keep on talking about. So I'm not quite sure if it has these design cues, if it shares the design cues with the Oceanaut or not. But I would imagine it does, since they are very similar watches. But again, thousands of dollars versus $345. So if you notice, the movement is already going on this one. This is a Seiko NH35, which has been tried and tested on a lot of other models, and it seems to be doing really, really well. And it's, of course, it's a departure from the days of the ETA, but those movements are becoming harder and harder to source. So a lot of them are coming out with the NH35 and the Miyotas and whatnot. But this one does have the Seiko NH35. Again, this shows you pretty well that sandwich style dial. And let's see if we can't get a lume shot here while I let you guys stare at the other two models that are on the table. Let me bring it over here so you guys can see it a little better. Again, is a Swiss RC Tritech. And from what I saw, they glow pretty nicely. Let me see if I can turn off the studio lights here and see if I can't show you a good representation of that. So you can see it's got really nice lume. It's got the pip at the 12. Obviously, that's lume, the seconds, hand, and the minute, and of course, the hour, and then every other marker. And of course, remember, that's coming up from the bottom because it is a sandwich dial. So the actual second tier, the lower tier, is actually what's lumed. So let me go ahead and turn on the lights again so I can show you. I shouldn't say the final model, but the one that I like a lot. You know, when I was talking to Carlos, he said, you know, how hard it was to actually sew this teal. But you can see just what a beautiful watch. Of course, this particular model that I have in my hand also has the date wheel, but you can acquire this watch without the date wheel. So personally, I prefer it without. But, you know, there's a lot of people like I used to that just couldn't absolutely live without a date wheel. So if you're that kind of person, then these two date models are for you. Now, again, $345, aluminum bronze. It's not brass. So take that into consideration when you're making that purchase. And I think it's going to be a watch that you guys are going to love to wear. It's a strap that, a watch that is obviously strap friendly. You can put a lot of different straps on it. You can put the ISO frame, which I'm going to do here just shortly, and I think it's going to look really, really nice. Now, one of the things that I mentioned in the last video, and I want to make sure that I convey it in this video, is just what a great guy Carlos is to deal with. I've been dealing with him for years, and he's always so eager to answer my questions. He's eager to answer your questions. I've seen him on the forums and groups a lot. He's a member. He's not just a brand owner, and I really appreciate the fact that he is so giving. So one of the things is I'm not sure when this video is going to actually hit his website or even our Watch Wabi, but this month, September, he's actually sponsoring our photo contest. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I just actually came up with this, but I think instead of doing the other watch that I was thinking, I think I'm going to let you guys have your choice of one of these three watches as the winning prize. So again, if you're watching this video in October, November, December, hey, the contest has already happened on Watch Wabi. But if you are now watching this live September, tomorrow, hopefully the 26th, I'll be able to get this contest out, and you guys can look forward to winning one of these beauties. So again, guys, I did go kind of fast, but I'm kind of into these shorter videos. Actually, this one's, I think, at 9-minute and almost 30-second marks. So it's a little longer than I probably would have wanted, but I think that I could talk about all this in about under 10 minutes. And if you guys have any additional comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know in the comment box below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, great value, $345. If you have any questions, drop them and we'll do our best to answer them. Special thanks to Carlos for providing these 3 watches and for always sponsoring our group. Guys, thanks for watching and God bless.